Everyone, welcome to the show. So, I watched several hours of focus group content, and I want to share with you guys what the participants had to say. So, these were all Pennsylvania swing voters, meaning these people all voted for Biden in 2020, and then in 2024, they voted for Trump. So, there were two groups, there were 13 people across the two groups. Here, a mix of men and women, far more, not far more, but there were more men in these groups than the women. But here's how their party affiliation breaks down. So three of them consider themselves to be Democrats, six of them are Republicans, and four are independents. They asked, what is your top issue? One of them said healthcare coverage and benefits. Two said their stock portfolio. Not doing good this week. Six said tariffs. Three said the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, and one said the economy. They also asked these people, what is the emotion that you feel when you see Donald Trump, whether you see him on your phone, on your TV, not what he's feeling, but what you feel when you see him. I'm going to run through these. So the majority, not positive for Trump. Let's just say that. Confused, sad, anger, happy, exasperated, uncertain, concerned, excited, indifferent, frustrated, unstable, good and bad, uneasy. So again, not really what you'd want to hear, especially when you're not even 100 days into your presidency. They then asked them for a word or phrase to describe the first 3 months of Donald Trump's presidency. Again, mostly good, but, some not so great. So I'm going to run through these also. Presidential overload, whirlwind, well planned, determined, disheveled, all over the place, racist, confusing, frantic, productive, chaotic, shaking things up, roller coaster. They also asked, what is the most recent action you've heard of that he's taken? Again, not really good. So one said refusing people entry into the country. Another one said rehiring federal government workers that they had fired. 8 of them said tariffs, some sort of tariffs. Another one said tariffs and revoking visas. One said cutting research from universities. Another said releasing hostages in Gaza, which happened quite a while ago. So this person must be checked out. And then they asked these people, overall, do you approve or disapprove of Trump's presidency? So there's no gray area here. It has to be, do you mostly approve? Do you mostly disapprove? 9 of them said that they approve, but several said, yeah, I'm kind of iffy. They said like I'm 60-40. On the whole, I'm okay with things, but there are some things that I really, really dislike. And if things don't change, then I'll change my opinion. And then 4 said, no, I disapprove. That may not sound really great, if we want to see like everybody turning on him all at once. But again, we are not even 100 days into his presidency. But you already have 4 people saying, I disapprove. And then you have several others saying, yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm getting there. I might disapprove pretty soon because some of this is not sitting well with me. So this is moving very fast. And, he, again, as I've pointed out in other videos, he did not win by that much. So it doesn't take much to push the Republicans out if they continue to support him and these people continue to become disillusioned. They also asked these people, is Donald Trump doing too much at once and not focusing on the things that matter to you, on the issues that matter to you? 8 out of the 13 said yes. So they then asked these people, okay, complete this sentence. I think he's too focused on X when he should be focused on Y. They wanted them to fill in the blank. What is X? What is Y? Here are some of the answers. People said that he is too focused on tariffs. He should be focused on healthcare and veterans affairs. Another said that he is too focused on personal vendettas and he should be focused on what's being taken away from US citizens. Another said, yes, he's too focused on tariffs. He should be focused on inflation. Another said he is too focused on retribution and that he should be focused on stabilizing our country. Another said he's too focused on Elon Musk. I really would like to know what exactly they were getting to with that, but the moderator didn't ask. But this person also said he should be focused on preventing war. And then another said, I think he's too focused on the macro agenda and he should be focused more on the micro details. Then another one said that he's too focused on cutting money from universities. He should be more focused on high interest rates. And another said, I just think he's too focused on everything all at once and he needs to just laser focus on the economy. So yeah, not doing what they thought he was going to do. And then they asked, how many of you think that Trump made a good case for these tariffs? 2 out of the 13 said, yeah, I think he made a good case. The other 11 were like, no, like he didn't tell us why really he's doing this, how he plans to achieve it. They want to know the time frame. They want just more details so they know, like when he says to them, oh, this is short-term pain for long-term gain, they want to know, like, what does that mean? Are you talking 3 months? Are you talking a year? Like, how long am I going to have to suffer with higher prices and losing my retirement before I see some benefit? And then they asked them, do you support or oppose his tariff actions? 6 of them said they support, 1 said oppose, and the other 6 said they don't know enough to really have an opinion. And this is a problem. This is where Democrats need to be stepping up big time right now to fill this information vacuum, because otherwise they're getting information from their friends, from social media, and it's whoever they hang around with or whoever they follow online. That's pretty much the opinion they're going to go with. Because a lot of these people, as you see, almost half do not understand tariffs enough to feel like they can make an educated decision or have an educated opinion about it. Like some of them don't understand still that when we impose a tariff in our country on imports, we pay that. We as consumers are going to end up footing that bill because the importer then has to somehow figure out how they're going to cover that cost. And a lot of the time, they're going to pass it on to the consumer, if not the full amount, at least part of it. So Democrats need to step up. They need to be hammering this home that Trump just taxed you. What Donald Trump is doing is imposing a direct tax on you because you're going to pay every time you make a purchase. And then they asked these people, I'm so glad someone finally asked this, because I hear so many Donald Trump voters saying, they just parrot what he has said. Oh, I'm willing to endure some short-term pain for long-term satisfaction and, a long-term turnaround of our economy. No one ever asked them, how long is short-term pain to you? Because if you think about it, and I have said this in multiple videos now, if you really drill down on it, it is going to take years to bring manufacturing back to our country, if ever. With what Donald Trump is doing right now and the way he's doing it, and people losing confidence and businesses seeing like it's on again, off again, on again, off again, Nobody wants to invest. Nobody's willing to put their hard earned money and the millions and millions of dollars it's going to take to build factories, to build manufacturing plants, to do all the legwork, to first find land, invest in the land. Then you have to pay for the building. Oh, actually, before you even get to the building, you have to do an environmental impact report, which that could take years. You know, I mean, you find someone, you go out, you hire someone to come in, do an environmental impact report, and then you turn it over to, the county or the city or whomever it is, and they look at it and they go, no, we're not happy with this. This is too close to residential areas. This is too close to, this or that or the other. You can't build this here, or it can't be this high, or it can't have these types of emissions, or it can't impact parking in this way, or whatever the case may be. Then you got to go back to the drawing board and you got to scale back or change things. So they're talking years, and people don't get this. So here's what some of their answers were. They asked them, what do you consider, or what, how long will short-term pain last? What do you anticipate? One of them said a minimum of 2 years, which that's more legitimate. One said 18 months to 2 years, which is not realistic. One said 6 months. Smoking dope. That one right there, smoking. Put the crack pipe down, person. I forget if that was a man or a woman, but I think it was a man. Put the crack pipe down. Back away from the crack. Two of them said until the midterms, because they think, oh, this is going to be sewed up by the midterms, or they're going to abandon the whole idea. One said 1 year, another said 18 months. And then some other ones were like, I don't really know. I don't know enough to know. Then they asked them, okay, if prices are up, say 10% in 3 months from now, how many of you would blame Donald Trump? 8 out of the 13 said, yes, I will blame Donald Trump. And then they asked, have your investments personally taken a hit in this past week? Because this was just done in this past week. So since Donald Trump made his announcement, but before they all went into effect, 10 out of the 13 had already had their personal finances affected by Donald Trump's just his announcement of the across the board tariffs. Then they asked them, how many of you are less anxious now about the economy since Donald Trump took office? So how many of you are less anxious since Biden's been out, Donald Trump is in? Only 3 of them are less anxious. They then asked, how many of you are more anxious about the economy since Donald Trump took office? 8 out of 13. And then only 2 said, I'm about the same. I was anxious then, I'm anxious now. So they went back and asked some of these people who said, I am more anxious now, but they had previously said they approve of his job performance overall. So they're like, how do you square that? You're saying you're more anxious than you were before, but you like what he's doing. So here's some of the answers that were given. One of them said that they primarily voted for him based on international issues like the wars, but they were thinking that he would do a better job of repairing the economy. So this person was pretty happy with how he's handling foreign affairs, which is like, are you insane? Seriously? Like, we're on the verge of starting a war with Iran, and you're happy with how he's dealing with international affairs? Just no logic here. And then one of them said that I agree with him on other things he's doing, but I'm not happy about these tariffs. So, and I should point out the one person, if I'm remembering this correctly, the one who said, I'm happy with how he's handling foreign affairs, it was a woman who is happy with how he's dealing with people in our country, people in the United States like students who are protesting the attack on the Palestinian people, the slaughter of Palestinian children. This was her big issue. She's happy that Donald Trump is pulling their visas and trying to kick these people out of the country. So I would like to ask this woman, if I ever had a chance to talk with her, what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if we had a pro-Palestinian president in office? And this pro-Palestinian president said, anyone who speaks out against Hamas, the terrorist group, you're anti-Palestinian. If you speak out against the terrorist organization Hamas, then you must hate all Palestinian people. And that doesn't align with my policies as a pro-Palestinian president. So I am now going to revoke the green cards and visas of every international student that is in our country because they pose a risk to what we want as a country and my authority and my rules and my executive orders. And so I am kicking out every Israeli, every Jewish person who speaks out against Hamas because they must be anti-Palestinian. That is the same thing. That is exactly what is happening here. So this woman, yeah, not thinking. So here's my thoughts beyond that. Some of these people are just clearly delusional. I mean, a couple of them, or one in particular that I remember, said, something about him lowering healthcare costs. He is not going to lower healthcare costs. He's never talked about that. He said he had concepts of a plan. He has not talked about healthcare since he took office. I don't know what this person is thinking, but Donald Trump and the Republican Party are never, ever, ever going to lower your healthcare costs. They will never do it. It's not on their agenda. They don't care. They truly don't care. The only thing you might get from them is taking away healthcare. And then other people, they just absolutely do not make sense in regard to tariffs. And this is not just with this group, not just with these focus groups, but I mean, this is what I see online too, on Reddit especially. I mean, they talk out of both sides of their mouth. They're, Donald Trump, he wants to bring manufacturing back, but he's using these tariffs as a negotiating tool. Negotiate for what? You don't negotiate to get tariffs down if you're trying to bring manufacturing back. That defeats the whole purpose. The purpose is to make it painful for the American people to buy international goods, to buy things and source materials from other countries so that you will bring manufacturing back and increase jobs in America. I don't think these people understand at all. I don't know. I just I could tell there was one guy in one of these two groups who does get it, who does understand, and he was like shaking his head, rolling his eyes when other people were talking. I mean, I felt for him. I really did. I was hoping he'd speak up more, but yeah. I think they tell you, going in, like, don't take issue with what each other says. Like, nobody is wrong in here. We're all free to speak, blah, blah, blah. But yeah. Anyway, I will let you know there will be more focus groups coming out this weekend. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.